Aha! Good. We're away from those silly plants now. Mega fans. There were no fans, no, it was just plants. No natural fibres I could use there to make fans even. But there's a few other things to get off my chest. My old mastectomus. Sorry, that's probably very offensive. But we poets, some people, we should offend, shouldn't we? Probably not. Women going through shit. But we only have margarine. Comedy and terrible plays on words. That's going to be the subject here. I've been writing a little bit, and it's now 2017, bloody hell. So it was summer 2012 when I tried to do a turn of comedy in Southport's Got Talent at the Victoria pub across the road from the Southport Theatre on the promenade, and I don't think it was too incriminating. I won't be up before a judge, not even a female judge, and because the majority of the people there were not over 16, put it that way. So I did a similar thing, Your Honour, at I don't need to wear any laundry. I don't need to get right at the Baptist church when I did the speech festival competition, which turns out to just be a lot of kids who like drama, really, doesn't it? But yeah. What was I doing there? My dad said, was it like Cubs? Oh, I think he's gaslighting me just a little bit. It's the sort of place you could have Cub Scouts, but it's not. I'm going to need to rephrase that. It's the sort of thing where such things would take place, but it's not like Cub Scouts to attempt Shakespeare recitals and poetry and whatnot. And what do we mean by comedy? And I've given it such a break. I think that so much of it is politicised now anyway. It's hipster and left wing that then there's these people, particularly in America, who appear to get away with completely the opposite, or the sort of language one comedian uses you would never be able to use elsewhere, like Britain's Got Talent. Oh, but maybe they would, or they're trying, instead it's some patronising kid who doesn't know what they're doing, a bit like I was even in my late 20s, early 30s. But I used to make people laugh when I was a teenager, believe it or not, or in my earlier 20s, and from time to time, or you get used to being a bit of the jester, the one who's people are used to having as background noise, or even the main thing, so long as you're doing what you usually do. And as a bit of an absurdity in yourself, in and of yourself, as a bit of a outcast, yes, pariah, those sort of words come to mind. But comedians probably are social outcasts, as has been said numerous occasions. And I'm not really the funniest guy in the world, or the best at being a comedian, and I've sort of given up in a way, but sort of thought, well, you know what, I might give it another try. I might even go to those local open mics, or open mics in different places where you can make a cultural contribution. At least you can say something. I don't know how, because you also realise that some people will never understand what you're trying to tell them, will they? We know about narcissistic personalities. The penny will never drop over things that where it really matters. You can try and change the narrative to some extent, I suppose, in that small way, like a vicar who hasn't got a church, or a politician who doesn't get any votes, or a teacher, just a teacher, yeah, or who hasn't got a class to teach. Who do all those people? Well, the politician you would expect, but they all abuse a political bias to get some of the things they want, or they abuse what people assume about their role and how the pendulum has swung to some extent. A lot of people in Christianity then went straight to communism, or were replaced by them in society. And no matter how many denim jackets these trendy vicars wear, they can't quite. They're either one and the same thing, or they've been replaced by or the liberal politically correct. And as a form of showbiz, form of crap showbiz, much like I try and do. But it takes a bit more courage to get on the proper stage, or stand in a boozer or a club. You know, it's that's what separates you from them, and makes it even more of a double standard when they're like that, when they try and get laughs from a small hidden audience, like in a science laboratory, which you think might be apolitical, but oh no, science is riddled with politicians, and science teaching is a soapbox for them, for some of the most spiteful people who were meant to have studied science. And I seem to be flowing very fluently now for some reason. Now I'm away from all that plant life. If you haven't seen that video, those triffids that were taking me over, those body snatchers, those puppet masters in the one with Donald Sutherland. Seen that film? Those parasites that take over the mind. I'm sure that never happens. Actually, I think he was a lot like a narcissistic father. It's allegorical, that film, even though he ends up, his son's done all right for himself, and well, one of them appears to have done. We don't know if he has any others, do we? Comedians. I've been watching a bit of Charlie Chuck. He's probably one of the least political, but he represents something cultural as well, so it is political in a way. This angry man with long, daft, curly hair. Oh, it's alright to be a bit like that, isn't it? Everyone should be more like that. Society was never sedate and ordered and polite. But I don't think he's really sticking it to the Conservatives that overtly, that obviously. It's not what he says, or he's not sticking it to the Christians or the reactionaries, the old people, the people who it's too easy to have a go at nowadays, and it doesn't go the other way so much, does it? And the people who are the channel controllers, commissioning editors, don't want to. A lot of the time, sometimes it's a bit more like that, but it's often, at least in a subtle way, left biased, left favouring, cultural Marxism, politically correct favouring. Interesting how Rick Mail said you have to be black or gay to work for the BBC, when his stuff was probably just as subversive to begin with, or more subversive. It's a bit sort of Cromwellian Puritan before he came on the scene, might be the 70s. Some girl with her boobs out. Yes, not as many channels, not as many TVs in people's bedrooms and stuff like that. There was not as much for children. There could have been, but probably not as common. Probably have to be a bit wealthier. And with all your beta videos, perhaps Betamax, or they didn't have much before then, did they? Showreel, tape recorders and radio. That wouldn't be used for propaganda. And the other side. Checking my notes. I've got notes on either side. That's whether you're going to be the clown, there has to be some continuity between the character, the zany clown, zany, which is Italian for saying zany, but not the Scouse for clown, especially if you're a big-headed support worker. The thing, there has to be continuity. It's like people act as a matter of course, don't they, in life, to get what they want, especially narcissists. A bit of lying, more than the straight person, as in morally. Well, I better not, don't mean morally, no. As in plain speaking. And continuity, or the person who, as I say, the person in life, if you're a bit more comical, who they recognise as comical on the stage, so they're waiting for you to say the next thing, which is absurd, an absurd observation. And it's not like you're playing somebody else, but it isn't quite clear. I thought I could say that a bit better, but Charlie Chuck probably isn't. Paul Foot is almost like playing an absurd version of himself. He's quite obviously a wasp, though. An Anglo-Saxon, a waspish man, an Anglo-Saxon, Protestantish sort of guy who is spiteful. But he's not that bad as a performer, I suppose. And very closely associated with Russell Brand at one time, wasn't it? Anyway, cheerio, peeps.